Greetings, all you Jackson Janets out there, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. We got something a little special for you today. Trying to give a little more content, so we decided we're going to put in a power ranking show. You'll only be hearing me. Now, albeit the power rankings are pretty basic for this week, going into week 4 of the NFL season. It's mostly looking at offensive points, defensive points, turnover ratio, and most importantly, wins. Because let's be honest, teams who win should be ranked higher in power rankings than teams that lose. Now, as we get farther into the season, we'll add some advanced statistics like plays per touchdowns, plays per turnovers, points against expected, but those things are just statistical noise until you get about 6 or 7 data points. So around 6 to week 8 is when you'll be looking for us to add those. Let us know what you think about this, and without further ado, let's start at the bottom of the power rankings with 2 teams. Well, let's be 3 teams that don't have a win. We'll start at the very bottom with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And let's be honest, at least they have something positive going. Jamal Agnew had a 109-yard touchdown last week, and that was something special to see. So I definitely liked that. We go next to the New York Jets. And what can you say? A team has 20 points in 3 games, has gotten worse every week from 14 to 6 to 0 on the points. And just like the team below them, 7 interceptions by their rookie quarterback, Wilson. I mean, those rookies are having a little bit of trouble in those 2 teams. Then we get to Detroit at 30th, and, well, there's a bright spot if you're a Detroit Lion fan. After trading Stafford, you are stacked on draft picks for the next 2 seasons. So you really don't have to worry about too much going there. Next, let's go in the 20s. We get to Atlanta, and it's not been a good start for Matt Ryan. Nothing really going well there. Washington. Oh, man, does the football team bring in Cam Newton? Is Riverboat Ron looking for an absolute reunion, as they don't seem to have a quarterback playing too well? They don't have a team playing well. Right above them is the New York Giants. Here's a couple no-win teams that passed 1-win teams, as Atlanta and Washington both have wins, but the Giants are ranked above them as, well, Daniel Jones can run, and the defense hasn't given up a lot of points. And Indy hasn't turned the ball over, which really helps them in the power rankings, but Carson Wentz needs to step up. I mean, it has not looked good. Then we get to some more 1-win teams. You have Miami, which a hurt Tua might be too much to overcome there. You have Chicago, which, let's be honest, Matt Nagy's getting his quarterbacks killed. For an offensive genius, he does not seem to be getting it going. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who special teams led to a very impressive win over Buffalo, but hasn't done much of anything the last 2 weeks, and I have great Madden skills, as you can see here. And then right above Pittsburgh, though, is a surprising team. Kansas City has a top 5 offense, but has turned the ball over a bunch and has, in terms of points per game, the worst defense in the NFL. So that's why you're seeing them fall all the way down here. Right above them, we have Philly, who's had a pretty good defensive performance, but Jalen Hurts and the running game have not really gotten anything going here for the 1-win Eagles. Above them is the New England Patriots, once again a team with a rookie quarterback who's not performing that well, and a defense that's playing really well right now. I think it's like a top 5 defense in terms of points allowed, so they're playing really, really good there, and that rounds out our top 20. Next, we'll get into the teens, and all the way up to number 10, and then we'll do a little more analysis of those teams way up top. But starting out your teens at 19 is Seattle, and the big question is, can Russell Wilson carry this team? He has some good weapons around him at wide receiver, but offensive line that's really weak, and just not very good play from a defense at all there in Seattle. Then we go up to Tennessee, which is a team that has really turned the ball over a lot, but winning 2 out of 3 games while playing poorly is a good thing, which the reason that they've played poorly is why they're actually behind 2 1-win teams. In Houston, coming up next, who has a great turnover ratio, as they have not turned the ball over, but everything else has been very middle of the package. And then you have Minnesota, who gets above because the way Kirk Cousins played last week, that offense is playing like a top-tier offense right now. So they moved up. And then we get back into the 2-win teams here. We have Baltimore coming in at 15, and I mean, they have Lamar Jackson, and they've made a 66-yard field goal. Come on, that's crazy. Then we go to Green Bay, and, well, Rodgers laid an egg in week 1. That's really why they're here. That team did not look good in week 1. The last 2 weeks have looked good, and that's why they're climbing up, and they're up to 14. Then you have San Francisco, who looked really good, but lost to Green Bay, ironically, last week because you don't give Aaron Rodgers 37 seconds only needing a field goal. They found that out the hard way. Then you have Tampa Bay, buoyed by the best offense in the league, but a defense that just has been injured, and they need to sign someone. Heck, I heard they're thinking about bringing in Sherman because they need to bring in someone. Then you have Cincinnati just outside the top 10 at number 11. Their defense has looked good. Maybe you could say they haven't played a bunch of great teams, which is fair, but you beat who you beat, and you'll see that later in the power rankings too. Then we have Cleveland, who their offense is a top 10 unit right now. Their defense is a top 10 unit right now, but they are turning the ball over a lot, which is what led to their loss in Kansas City, along with a blocked punt. And well, it's a team you could argue could be 3-0, so starting off the top 10 with Cleveland is not a bad spot to be. Then we go at number 9, a second-year quarterback leading a great defense right now. That would be the Los Angeles Chargers. And hey, Herbert's looking good, and the defense looks good, so that's good. And we go to number 8 is the Dallas Cowboys. Dak's looking good, and that defense is playing pretty well, causing lots and lots of turnovers, just like the team above them, New Orleans, who has a top 3 defense because they're causing all sorts of turnovers. Jameis Winston has laid an egg in there, but outside of that, that team's looking really stout. If Jameis can keep advancing his play and that defense can keep it up, look out for New Orleans. Coming in at number 6, we have the Vegas Raiders, buoyed by early sneaky MVP candidate David Carr. They're our first 3-win team that you'll see out here. Then we go right above them is another 3-win team, Carolina, who didn't Sam Darnold only win like 3 games in his whole Jet career? He's out there now with the Panthers, breaking into the top 5 of our first power rankings because that defense is playing great, and Darnold's just doing what he has to do to get it done. We get up to number 4. We have the only one-loss team in the top 4, and that's your Buffalo Bills. I mean, there's something to be said about the way they're playing right now. I believe they have a top 5 offense, a top 5 defense. They're not turning the football over. They made some questionable 4th down calls against the Steelers, had a blocked punt, and Josh Allen just didn't look very sharp, albeit he didn't play in the preseason, so not surprising there. But outside of those little things, Buffalo has looked great up here and deserves to be in the top 5. At number 3, we have the Rams. Defense is a top 10 defense. Offense is a top 3 offense. They've turned the ball, or their turnover ratio isn't great as they haven't forced a whole bunch. But, hey, if you're a Rams fan, early returns on Matthew Stafford are everything you could hope they would be. He is looking great in there. Now, here's one that's kind of surprising, and it just shows sometimes when you have early season power rankings purely based off statistics, it can look a little weird because we have the Denver Broncos coming in at 2. Sure, they're 3-0, but they've played the Jets, the Giants, and the Jaguars. It's not like they beat the who's who. But Teddy Bridgewater's looking good there. In terms of points allowed, that defense is number 1 in the league. Playing those 3 teams helps. But that is a decent defense there, even if it doesn't stay at this level. It's a good defense there. And Teddy seems to be a step up from Drew Lock, which is a great sign if you're a Denver fan. And right now, one of the best teams in the league at 3-0 and looking good in all the games they played. And at number 1, we have arguably my MVP candidate, at least to this point, Kyler Murray right there. The Arizona Cardinals breaking in our first in-season power rankings here at number 1. They have the best offense in there, a defense just outside the top 10 in terms of points per game, a turnover margin that has been way on the plus side, and to be honest, James Conner scored 2 touchdowns in their last game. Go, James. Love to see the Pickett doing it. They have an MVP candidate in Kyler Murray and probably Defensive Player of the Year front runner right now in Chandler Jones. I mean, he had 5 sacks in a game. That's absolutely nuts. So there you go. That's our power rankings for week 4, going into week 4 of the NFL season. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it's something you liked. You know where to reach me. Viking Donkey, Xbox Viking_Donkey, or Twitch and Twitter, and your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger. I'm not doing shout-outs for this, but I just want to let everybody know I appreciate all you Jacks and Janets out there. And Steeler fans, don't get too down on our team yet. But remember, wave them if you got them.